Hey y'all. I just watched the documentary, or basically about Elvis, and a lot of people thought that he was a good Christian, which I guess because he sang a lot of gospel. Apparently, he got his inspiration from the black Pentecostal, probably churches in the South. And I was just thinking how my ex was Pentecostal, and I noticed that amongst him and his Pentecostal friends, that I think Satan was trying to attack them. And I observed that with Pentecostals, they try and go deeper with God. I remember my mom said to me once, "Don't you want more of God?" Because my ex was trying to get me to pray in tongues and get slain in the spirit and do all kinds of weird, creepy church stuff, Pentecostal stuff. And I was like, "No, thank you," because I was scared of it. But you should be a little bit cautious of things like that. You know, the Bible says, test the spirits. Watch out for false teachers and false prophets. And then Jesus warns that in the last days, many false teachers will perform false signs and wonders. So watch out for miracle workers. Watch out for stuff like that. Even people who have tongues, God can give tongues, but Satan can also give tongues. Anyways, this documentary about Elvis was very interesting. Apparently, at one point, he literally parted the clouds in a storm, and his friend said, just like Moses parted the Red Sea, Elvis was literally able to part the clouds so that they weren't getting rained on anymore. And he said that there was rain on either side of their car, but then down the middle, it was just like, he said it was like a yellow brick road and there was sunshine. And the first time I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, he was a witch. But you could also say, well, it was a miracle. Jesus said that, Jesus said that those who follow me will do the things that I did and even greater works. And I've always been confused by that. I was like, really? We can do greater works than Jesus? But one thing that, and I read this in a book. I think it was a book by Billy Graham, but he was saying that the greater works are just saving people. And I was like, I don't know if that's really what he was talking about. But you could say greater works in terms of the internet. Think of how many people Jesus could reach. Think of how many people now we can reach. Millions. Millions, if not billions, thanks to the internet. Thanks to YouTube. Thanks to Twitter. Thanks to Facebook, you know. So I feel like those are the greater works. It's just the potential, the high numbers of people that we can reach and hopefully save. But, you know, most people have interpreted that as miracles. You know, if Jesus fed 5,000, then we all should be able to feed 5,000, because Jesus literally said that we could do the same works that he did. So why isn't that happening? I don't know. People probably just have a lack of faith. I guess that's mainly it. People have a lack of faith. Because, yeah, why don't you see any Christians now feeding 5,000? And that's why so many people, non-Christians, are like, oh, there's no true Christians, you know. Nobody believes that Christians are real, I guess, because we're not doing stuff like that, you know. Why aren't we feeding 5,000? Personally, I would love to be able to do that. I've never tried. And maybe that's the first step. Maybe you just got to try, you know. I remember there was this guy that I worked with. He had like a tumor, and like half of his face was all puffy, you know. And I felt like God was telling me to lay hands on him and pray for him, but I didn't have the guts to. And I remember I was working at Papa John's, and I was on a pizza delivery, and God was telling me to go back to the store, lay hands on him and try and heal him. But I was like, I was scared. I was too scared. Like, well, what's everyone gonna think, you know? I was scared of his brother, because his brother had a temper problem. And I'm pretty sure his brother was a witch. And I was like, I mean, the whole time I worked there, I knew that he was different. I knew that I wanted to save him, but I think I also knew that maybe it was impossible. But all things are possible to those who believe. But I knew I really wanted to save him. And I knew he really needed someone to save him. My owner said that she would watch the cameras for the Papa John's. She said one time I was on a delivery and he got on his knees and he was like holding his ears with his hands and he was like, no, no, go away. And I was like, I bet that was evil spirits telling him to run out of the store or something because he hated working there. And he was like, no, don't tell me that, go away. Who knows? I mean, it was clearly evil spirits telling him something that he didn't want them to tell him. And I was like, and you just left me? Didn't come to the store? You just left me there with him? A lot of times I would be working with this guy. It was just me and him at the store. But I survived. Ironically, I always kind of had a crush on this guy, but I always wondered if he was a witch. But, you know, you just never know. There's a lot of people, you just never know. You never know what they really are, you know. Things are not always as they seem. Things are not always as they seem. No one is totally what you think they are. Everybody has secrets. Everybody has a double self. I think even with themselves. I think even a lot of people don't even see themselves because they don't want to, you know. Like most of my life, I thought of myself as a super nice person, but actually, I can be pretty grumpy. Grumpy is a nice word for it. But yeah, I have been grumpy with a lot of people. At work, I was always nice, though. I think I was. Anyways, watch out. Watch out for the witches, y'all. The funny thing about Elvis is that everybody thought that he was such a good Christian, which is so weird because my perception of him has always been that he was like a total druggie and he was a bad guy. So, I don't know. The other thing that's interesting is how people swooned over him so much to the point that women fainted in the crowd. And then the Beatles had the same effect on women. And I kind of want to say Justin Bieber maybe did, but I don't think women were fainting over him. But the Beatles and yeah, and then almost seems like a hypnosis or something. Because then you had the same thing with Benny Hinn, with his crusades, how people were falling over, getting slain in the spirit. But was it like a hypnosis? I don't know. My whole life I've been trying to figure that out. Like, why is it that people fall down around certain so-called Christian pastors? But it's interesting that the same phenomenon happened with the Beatles and with Elvis. So, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, my ex, he was really into like that whole getting slain in the spirit thing, and I was always like, no, that's demonic. How do you know that you're having an encounter with God? What if it's an encounter with an evil spirit? This one guy, I posted about it on Facebook, and this guy commented, and he was like, yeah, we had a revival in our town where a bunch of people were getting slain in the spirit. Shortly after that, a bunch of the men exhibited homosexual tendencies. Basically, like the guys who fell out in the spirit, got slain in the spirit, they turned them into homosexuals. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because when I met my ex, he said that Satan was trying to tell him that he was gay. And I was like, that's weird. Satan's never told me that. And the way that he walked was kind of gay. This is my ex-husband. I was married to him for 7 years. And he had a best friend that I was always like concerned about, you know. But whatever. Anyways, pray for him. Hopefully he's straight now. His name's Ben. He's in charge of my 2 daughters. Hopefully he's walking the straight and narrow. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. But watch out for witchcraft. Watch out for Pentecostal crazy churches. Watch out for getting slain in the spirit. And don't ever think that you totally know someone, because you probably don't. Anyways, God loves you all. God bless. Bye.